We at the Maine Center for the Book have selected the book Blue, A History of the Color as Deep as the Sea and as Wide as the Sky. Here it is. It was written by Nana Ekua Brew-Hammond, and it was illustrated by Maine artist Daniel Minter. Daniel is a recipient of the Coretta Scott King Illustration Honor as well as the Caldecott Honor. So first, Daniel, we are so proud to have Blue and to have you representing Maine at the National Book Festival. And we're grateful for the opportunity to talk with you about the book. So what's interesting, while the other books that were selected by centers tell the story of individuals, this book tells a different kind of story. It's a story of a color. Would you tell us a little bit about the book?
Yes, and thank you for having me. And what you say that it does not tell the story about an individual is one of the things that attracted me to this book. You know, it's not, there's no central character. The central character is really the color blue. And it also has a science aspect to it. It has a historical aspect to it. So it was really interesting to me to just really jump right into this book and then find a way to make it, you know, a consistent story through pictures, you know, to make each little vignette, you know, sort of its own story, and then connect them all at the same time.
You know, that's something that I noticed, Daniel, like the written narrative and the illustrations together tell the story of Blue so well, and they're so integral to each other. I'm wondering how much you and the author worked together on this.
You know, we did not work together at all as far as, you know, exchanging ideas about what we were doing. I received the manuscript and went from the text, and that's something that I always prefer to do. I would rather respond to the text than respond to verbal input. So really, you know, Nana, you know, finished the manuscript and basically, left the images to me. And that way I feel like it was a complete collaboration, you know, whereas we both were able to concentrate on the areas where we felt our strength lie.
That's wonderful. Daniel, how do you decide what books you'd like to take on as a project?
That's interesting too, because I like books that have aspects of multiple things that are not that are able to teach you something, that are able to spur your imagination, and that also able to show you something beautiful about the world.
You know, Daniel, I'm familiar with a lot of your artwork and other illustrations you've done for books. And one thing that I've enjoyed immensely and also noticed is that there are so many patterns involved in your work, that they appear sometimes in white outlines. Sometimes the same patterns repeat throughout a piece. Sometimes some different patterns are entered in. Could you talk to us about why patterns are so important for you in your work?
Well, this book, Blue, was perfect for me to work in that way. One of the ways that I work in just about all of my work is I work in layers and levels, and so the figurative narrative piece that is dominant carries the main narrative. And then I use patterns and textures to add another layer of narrative within that. So
Mm.
A lot of times you'll see the lines, you'll see or different patterns repeating throughout, and those patterns are relaying a complementary narrative to the story.
They're beautiful and haunting in some cases in this book. They do draw me in so much deeper into what the narrative is and into the visual aspect of the books. I love them.
Thank you.
Hey, Daniel, so
Yes.
the National Book Festival's theme this year is Books Bring Us Together. I'm wondering, what does that theme mean to you? And what are your hopes for how your book, this book and other books that you work on could bring us together?
Well, like I was saying, I like books that teach us something, that can show us something beautiful about the world. And generally, not generally young people, but not just young people, are always looking for those kinds of things. They're looking to be inspired. They're looking to learn something about the natural world around them, and they're looking to learn something about what has happened in the world before. So, I'm just interested in books that touch on those types of things, and those are also the types of things that I feel bring people together. Those are the kinds of things that people enjoy sharing about themselves. People enjoy sharing, their histories, their diverse backgrounds. They enjoy sharing, the similarities and differences, within the way they grew up, within the way their families are structured. Those things, when they are in books, we realize that we do not live in a monolithic world. We do not live in a homogeneous world. We live in a world of many different influences and backgrounds and cultures. And we also, by having books like that, we also learn that the people next to us, the people next to us are, they're very similar to us, and yet they are very different at the same time.
Yes. Was there a book that meant a lot to you when you were growing up, Daniel? And if you can think of one to give us an example, can you tell us why it meant so much to you?
You mean you mean just any book in general, or just a children's book?
Any book you want to pick from growing up.
Well, I would have to say it would be, the writings of Zora Neale Hurston. I grew up in South Georgia, and the schools were still segregated. We did not have access to books with children in them that looked like us. It was not a common thing. So when I was young, my older sister discovered a book of short stories by Zora Neale Hurston, and that book, the dialect in which Zora Neale Hurston wrote was so familiar to me. It sounded like people I knew. The tones and the rhythms were very familiar to me. I knew those. I knew that they were slang. I knew that. But just seeing them written made such an impact on me. It gave me the sense that, that the events that were happening around my small community and the interactions of the people were just as important as the events that are, recorded in books anywhere. So I feel like that book, well, the writings and stories of Zora Neale Hurston, and the way she approached it and the way she told stories about her people really influenced me more than I can say right here.
Daniel, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and about how you're working with an author and how you're thinking about your work. And also just about the book that was really important to you when you were growing up.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about my perspective in the artwork. But I really appreciate the way that I'm able to share my thoughts and views on my artwork through this. Okay. So thank you.